For warning. I apologize for completely derogatorily referring to the other man as douchebag from here on out. It's really the only way I can vent. Besides this post, I am unwilling to talk to family or friends about this astronomically embarrassing event. I am going to a psychologist currently. But she is in vacation for close to a month. What about Bob? Great movie. The worst feeling in the world is having to doubt something you thought was unquestionable. Just over 3 months ago, I walked into a room in my house to my wife making out heavily with douchebag, arms and legs locked around him. Startled, he fell flat on his face. She started smiling briefly. Instantly my heart shattered. My unconditional trust instantly erased. My life was a lie. This girl doesn't love me. It was fake. 18 years and 2 kids. Flush. Just bought our first house. Great timing. I think I'm a respectful, gentle, loyal provider, and truly believe I treat her like gold. I know I'm not perfect, but I try hard. I'm easy to get along with. I can get loud. I can say hurtful things. Enough about me. I left. Consulted divorce lawyer. She maintained that they never had sex. She maintained douchebag turned violent and pulled her hair. Started kissing her. She said that was the first time anything had happened. She said if I hadn't come in when I did, she would have gotten raped. Bullshit. She was holding him. That douchebag had been talking to me earlier that evening because we had some people over for drinks, him being over with them. And he told me about this smoking hot chick he was fucking. She was so tight. Gave me the okay sign with his hands and changed the subject. I just thought he was being a creepy dude and dismissed it at the time. She had been flirtatious with him all night long. And I noticed it right away. Things in past events just started clicking. This had been going on for a while. My 12-year-old daughter and 7-year-old son were devastated that I left. My daughter begged me and pleaded that she didn't want to have 2 houses like a lot of her friends. We had just purchased our first house a month prior, with lawyer's recommendation. We did up a trial reconciliation. Wife was to get help with alcohol, marriage counseling, personal counseling. None of these things have been met. She drinks just as much now. And started smoking again. I've blown up on average 2 times per week at her since I've been back home. Because 1, I did believe her story, and 2, I'm mad she isn't more remorseful, loving, or willing to do what I've asked of her in the reconciliation. I can't keep blowing up on her. It's not fair to me, her or the kids. So, on the weekend I got the confession I thought I wanted. After countless fights, me hinting, not letting it go, and a bit of a lie on my part, saying I spoke to douchebag and he told me everything. She said, why do you need to hear it from me then? To which I replied, because I need to hear your lips tell me, not douchebag. She finally told me. She said they had sex 4-5 times more, I'm sure. Another bombshell dropped when she told me it would happen when I would drive her to his house and wait for her in the car. She fucked this guy while I was waiting 50 ft away. Heart shattered even further. It burned bad. But I asked for it. You might ask why I would drive her to this guy's house at all. To be brutally honest, she would buy weed off douchebag for us. That is why I would drive her there. I thought. I said, but why? Of course. She said he persistently sent her sexy texts and kept at it. I replied, oh. So if some creepy dude just keeps asking you to fuck him, you'll do it. Is that what you're saying? Just give out the most sacred thing we have together. She then said, it wasn't you. I was feeling worthless. Then she hit me with the nuke. She said I did it because of the way you are. And it'll never change. She said the first offense happened in February. And at that time, we had been really doing great with our relationship, so it didn't make sense. And she gave me no chance, no warning, before tearing my life, family to shreds. She promised it was always protected. She promised it never happened at our house, in our bed, or when I was out of town. Just when I was waiting outside that motherfucker's house for my wife to get fucked. And then drive her home and unknowingly have sex with her hours later. Fuck. He told me my wife was tight, right to my face, and I didn't know it at the time. It was affecting our sex life terribly in April, to the point where she pushed me off her and started crying once. I had unknowingly been suffering the effects of this affair for months before I caught her. Cue that sick stomach feeling again. I got upset that she told me it was my fault it happened, asked why she didn't tell me, or give me a chance, or just end it if she didn't want me. She started making many excuses why, bringing up 10-year-old shit, telling me she was angry for tricking her into the confession. She told me she withheld the truth because she wasn't sure if I wanted her back or not. I did not recognize how that made sense. She told me I better get my team of lawyers on her and stormed off. I'm so mad at her and myself. I asked for the truth, and I got it. I think she's trying to make her sins okay with herself. This is not the first bout of infidelity we have had. We have been together since we were 18 years old, 18 years ago. We've been a team for half of our lives. I want to make it work. She wants to make it work. I'm having trouble not thinking about how she fucked me over. It happens 5 minutes 10 times daily. She was and still is my first everything. Maybe I'm obsessing. Maybe I have gone crazy. Maybe I have unrealistic views on what marriage and intimacy should be. She says she can't handle the hot, cold I have towards her for the last few months. I need to get over this trauma so I can think straight. I want my family back, but I don't want to be a chump. I don't want to be used. I don't want to hurt like this ever again. I want to be able to go to work and concentrate on work instead of feeling sorry for myself. I want to play with my kids and do fun things instead of being a depressed crankapint. I'd like to hold my wife's hand without dirty thoughts of her fucking some dude while I wait patiently for her in the car. Gotta get my mind off this affair from 9 years ago. And we still talk. I know I'm going to get blasted for this, so it's a throwaway account and I'm prepared to hear you all rip me apart. And truth is, I really have no defense. I am female, 43. Been married 24 years. Happily married. Married young but awesome relationship. Now have 2 adult kids who are out of the house. I lost my virginity to my husband and we have been a storybook ever since. But have we really? 9 years ago I met a guy in a wedding I was in. He was married as well, just 1 year at the time. We had to dance at the wedding and it was the first time I had ever been that close to another man, besides my husband, and it made me feel sparks. Sparks I hadn't realized could exist with anyone except for my husband. A few days after the wedding he contacted me through email that he had gotten from the bride. And we corresponded a bit about the wedding and the bride and groom. I had told my husband he had emailed me. Neither me or hubby thought much of it. Well, the conversations lasted longer, got more in depth, and emotions and secrets started to be shared. Then we moved to the phone, talking and text for hours and hours every day. At night it was FB inbox back and forth. So much talking during the day that I was fired from my job. My career I had built was gone because for over 1 month at this point I was obsessed with talking to this guy. One day he even took the day off of work and just sat on phone with me all day while parked in his car. I didn't even care when I got fired. All that mattered was getting home so I could call him. I lied to my husband and told him I got laid off. I was excited because now me and new guy could talk all day. Eventually he told me he loved me. I replied that I loved him too. We made plans to meet one day as we lived about an hour and a half away from each other. We met at a hotel and had sex. Obviously, but to both of us it was the seeing each other and conversation that made that day and the ones that followed amazing. As you can imagine, my new behavior and sudden disappearing act on weeknights and weekends was not unnoticed by my husband, and my sudden overall change in attitude towards him had declined. In retrospect I see it now but didn't realize it at the time. I was in love, also. Around this time, his wife is starting to question his behavior as well as his sudden spike in his phone minutes. Anyway, I'll fast forward to 6 months into this and he suddenly ends it. We can't do this anymore, he said. It was getting too intense. I was devastated. I didn't eat or sleep at all. I couldn't manage to even brush my hair. Guess who was there to help me through the toughest time in my life? Yeah, my husband. He had no idea what he was wiping my tears about, but he nonetheless was there for me. It took me a long time to return to reality, get my life back in order. A few weeks after my affair ended, the guy contacted me. It was hard. I wanted to hate him, but it turns out ending it was the right thing. I hated him for it, but in years to come I understand why. Truth is, he did me a favor by ending it. Before he came along my marriage was amazing and sacred, and I wanted to return to that. So, I never told my husband. This was 9 years ago. What would be the point in telling him if I never did it again? And now it's 9 years later and things are amazing. We're traveling, have a grandchild, and just overall life is great. My dilemma is that I never told him, and sometimes I wake in the night with panic attacks and I know what they're about, but I can't tell the most amazing guy in the world why I can't breathe. I have nightmares that he finds out. I never rest easy and haven't in 9 years. Am always on edge for the truth to emerge even though I managed a 6-month affair. And the only 2 people who know are me and the other guy. And I know he's never going to say anything because him and I still chat frequently but just as friends. We have never so much as mentioned what happened 9 years ago. My husband now knows him as a friend of mine, and I'm pretty sure he stays in touch with me for the same reassurance that I seek from him. That this goes to our grave. Why hurt his wife and my husband over something from so long ago? Nobody gains anything.